I was actually diagnosed with hairy cell leukemia in April last year. We actually went to the hospital to check for another condition because I've been having this persistent shoulder aches for 4 months. So when we got to the hospital, we did the checks, and the doctors realized that I had a normal blood counts, and that was when they did further diagnosis and actually realized that I actually have a hairy cell leukemia. When we first heard of the diagnosis, I think there was a bit of a shock because it was much more than what we have expected. And of course, at that point of time, we didn't know the difference between leukemia and lymphoma, so we didn't realize the impact of the diagnosis. It was really only after we went back, we checked on it, and then we realized it's actually a form of blood cancer. So what I had was not a blood condition, but it was actually a blood cancer. We prayed for about 2 months from April 2010 to about June 2010 with regards whether to go for chemotherapy. So at the end I did, and I started my treatment in June 2010. So mine was a gradual process of healing. There were improvements that came after the treatment of chemotherapy. I was in and out of the hospital for about 3 weeks altogether. But in August 2010, that was about a year ago, I was completely cleared of my cancer, so there was no trace of the hairy cells in my blood system, and so it was a process that I went through. But I remember before I started the treatment, we were discussing with my doctors, and they said that there was a 50-50 chance that I will be completely healed, because a hairy cell is a very rare form of leukemia. They have about 10 cases in Singapore in the last 10 years, and I was their first case for 2010, and they're going to try a new drug combination which they have not used before in Singapore, so they were not sure of the certainty of the effects of the drug. So that was the diagnosis that my doctor gave me, but I was very sure that I would be 100% healed, despite what they said. One of the major change in my life is that I see God very differently now. I think I'm much more confident in my relationship with God. I also see sickness very differently now, especially cancer. I think I really hate sickness now. But more than that, I think it's more than just that, but I think the compassion that God has placed in my heart. I think my marriage has been greatly changed, partly because I'm greatly changed. I saw how my wife was a support to me throughout those months, working, preparing meals, going back and forth to the hospital. So I think I learned to be much more appreciative of her, of things around me, but more than that, I think I'm very grateful towards my Father, my Heavenly Father.